This is SCP Radio Network, coming to you live from Skylab Studios. Up next is Source Code News.
This episode of Source Code News is brought to you by Parties for You. For the best margarita machine rentals in Houston, give them a call. 281-748-0057. That's 281-748-0057. By Cazadores Tequila. When you're in the mood for tequila, buy the best. Cazadores Tequila. And by Alberta's Best Bet Bail Bonds. Don't gamble with your freedom. Give them a call. 713-237-8238. That's 713-237-8238.
Welcome to Source Code News, episode number 44, recorded on April 5th, 2018. This show brings you the latest in tech, science, and gaming news. We also will be bringing you interesting interviews and much more. Subscribe to us on iTunes and your favorite podcatcher. Follow us on YouTube, Mixcloud, and all of the social media sites. We do this show live every Thursday night, starting around 9:30-ish p.m. on scpradio.com, which is where you can check out our audio and video streams. But where we really want you to go is to scptv.net, not .com, .net, scptv.net, to check out our TV station. You can also join the chat room on scpradio.com, and we have a chat link there on scptv.net, so you can chat with us there. And if you need to call in, it's 832-910-7727 to ask us a tech question or to join the conversation. Now, on the SCP TV deal, what you can do is when you go there, it'll be showing you a show that was already programmed in. What you can do is there's a live button on top. So you go to the top, you click the live button, and at the bottom it'll bring up, it'll say the show that's live. So you click play on Source Code News, episode number 44. Click play on that, and it'll pop right up, and now you'll be able to see us live there. And like I said, underneath that is the chat room. So you can look at it on your phone or your laptop, your PC. Also, right there next to it, there's a form you can fill out for our newest show that I think we're starting next Friday. It's going to be part of the Super Tejano Friday show. DJ Fluffy and Mary Jane are going to be hosting it. So I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think Fluffy's going to do his show for the first hour. And then we'll start, for the second hour, we'll start the new show. And it'll be like a battle of the bands type deal. And so we're getting people to submit their favorite artists. There's 4 genres. This is not really straight up a Tejano type show. It's just a battle of the bands. So we're gonna have different genres in there. It's not, like I say, it's not straight Tejano, because then we would just be like female Tejano artists, male Tejano artists. Like not much choices. So don't consider this show being straight Tejano. It's gonna have some Tejano, but en conjunto and mariachi and also norteño. So, while you're there, while you're watching us, you can just fill out that form, put the artist, put the name of the song, the artist, and submit it. And that way, we're getting all that. We'll count up how many of the same song was submitted the most, and that one gets picked, and the second one that was submitted, the second most gets picked, and they go head to head in that genre. And while we're streaming that show live, underneath on scptv.net, I'm going to remove that form, and I'll put instead, all right, these two songs are head to head. Pick the one you want to win and submit. So, and I'm going to figure out how to put a live counter there showing like the percentage of who's winning. So as the songs are playing, like we'll say, okay, these 2 songs are going head to head. We'll start playing one song, and as this is going on, people will be able to vote live. And so, you need to be there to vote. So you start voting, and it'll show you who's winning, who's going head to head. Then the next song will play, and then at the end we'll say, all right, that's the end of the votes, so and so won. So this is going to be a new interactive show. So make sure y'all tune in next Friday, because tomorrow DJ Fluffy will be in Tumbleweeds. They're having a cook-off. So of course we have SCP cookers. So we're going to be there. Fluffy will be there handling SCP cookers. Actually, DJ Jimmy Ray will be in Zoom Barrel So if you want, you can go check out DJ Fluffy. He's going to be giving away free tickets to Tumbleweeds. So you can go check him out. You know, tell him Light Jockey Mike sent you, and he'll get you a free pair of tickets to get into Tumbleweeds for a few of these shows that are coming up, whichever one you pick. And except the main one, the Little Joe, that one's a little different. Those aren't free, but he can hook you up with something on that. And also, like I said, go to Zoom Barrel and check out DJ Jimmy Ray. Go get you some wings and a beer, and you know Jimmy will be there jamming out. And then also that night at Tumbleweeds, they're having a comedy show. So I will be streaming live on SCP TV, so you can check that out there too. But it's best if you come in. You know, come in and drink some beer and get your laugh on. So that's the recommendation. I'll see you up there if you do. Like I said, I'll be there streaming live, and that's Friday. And Saturday, of course, the three of us will be there at Tumbleweeds. They're gonna have La Sombra and Fama playing, and Melanie Munoz will be opening for them. So she's coming. Not sure where she's coming down from, but she's coming from out of town for this, you know, gig. We, you know, kind of got her and asked if we could bring her in for this show. So, you know, because we've noticed, you know, before we got to Tumbleweeds, we've been noticing that all these new bands coming out, a lot of them, you know, they're trying real hard and nobody's giving them a chance. So, you know, Fluffy DJ Jimmy Ray and I would always talk and say, if we ever get the chance to where we can bring them into a club or something, if we have any say, you know, we're going to do that. And it just so happens that now we have say, and we can kind of bring them in. Not much, but like I said, we were able to, you know, hey, why don't you bring in Melanie Munoz? She can come and start, you know, open the show. And we got him to say yes. So, you know, she's coming from out of town. So, you know, hang out with SCP and you will not be disappointed. All right. So, Faithy, you want to go ahead and start the tech news? Did you say no?
Tech news.
I can't see you over there, so I can't throw nothing at you. Okay, so let's see. For Apple, quitting Intel won't be so easy. So it's happening again. A report that Apple will soon ditch Intel chips for its Mac lineup. But while that rumor pops up as dependably as perennial, this time it has enough weight to merit some serious consideration. And the first thing to consider is just how hard it would be for Apple to actually pull this off. It seems likely the company will give it an earnest effort. The report Monday comes from Bloomberg Businessweek. Mark Gurman, who has the best track record of any Apple outsider in divining Cupertino's plans. And in some ways, the company has already spent the last few years laying the groundwork, not only investing heavily in its own homegrown processors, but also hewing together elements of its iOS mobile operating system and macOS desktop counterpart. That would make this kind of switch feasible. Still, quitting Intel would come with a host of complications. How Apple navigates them will shape its next decade and beyond. Chipmates Intel has provided Apple with processors for its Mac lineup since 2006, a long and mutual profitable relationship. While MacBooks and iMacs lack the marquee appeal of the iPhone, Apple still sold nearly $7 billion worth of Intel-powered laptops and desktops last quarter. Apple reportedly provided about 4% of Intel's revenue last year. 4%, still a lot. They sold $7 billion worth of laptops. Holy moly. There's no magical way that Apple can make that complexity disappear. Let me see. Which seems pretty reasonable as far as symbiosis goes, and yet Apple's desire to go it alone should come as no surprise. The company already, after all, makes its own A series processors for not just the iPhone, but also the S series for the Apple Watch, and the W series for wireless headphones, as well as co-processors that have already found their way into the Mac lineup. it even as of a year ago is designing its own GPU. At this point, then Intel's presence in the Mac lineup is more the exception than the rule. And the reason Apple would want to create those chips in-house is the same reason major smartphone makers have been ditching Qualcomm. If you can do it yourself, don't rely on someone else, which is true because I've heard that they have to go in ahead of time and say, I need to buy so many of these and purchase them ahead of time, because if not, all the other phone or like laptop makers are buying those, and then they're going to run out, and then they can't keep up, and then Mac won't be able to get, Apple won't be able to get their products out because they're waiting on chips or whatever. So if they can make their own and then, have their own factory just pumping out processor after processor and then tailor it specifically for the Mac, wow, that could be something awesome. I would really stay with the Mac, with the Mac Pro then. Because I'm pretty sure they could probably end up doing better than Intel, just because it doesn't have to be an all-in-one. It doesn't have to be able to work on Mac and work on a Dell and work on anything else. It's just gonna be Mac. Just how they do the iPhone, just how they do the iPad, everything. It's like everything's specifically designed for that one deal. So that's why it runs so good. Right, Faithy?
Yeah. I'm doing stuff.
Faithy? All right, so move on to stomach wearables. Could replace the need for invasive probes. Did you hear me? No?
Yeah.
Okay, so researchers have created a wearable monitor that can track your stomach's electrical activity for signs of digestion maladies.
Oh my god.
You saw the picture? Shout out to Mom and Dad Lopez. What's up, Miss Alberta? Yes, vote for DJ Fluffy. Hey, how's it going, y'all? Let me see here. So, called the electrogastrophy EGG. It's like an EEG for the GI tract, and was used briefly in the 90s but abandoned due to a lack of usefulness as a diagnostic tool. UC San Diego scientists are trying to resuscitate it with improved hardware and, most importantly, algorithms that help filter out noise. The results so far are promising, and if perfected, it could help doctors diagnose gastrointestinal problems without the need for invasive probes or even a hospital visit. EGG works by scanning electrical signals in the stomach that control gastric contractions. Any oscillation, Faithy, how do you say that? Oscillation rates different from a normal 3 cycle per minute can signal GI tract maladies. The system had a moment in the 90s, but is rarely used by gastroenterologists nowadays. That's because signals from the skin-mounted electrodes can be distorted by patient movement and complex stomach interactions. Let me see. So, to fix those issues, U.S. San Diego's team optimized the electrode positions and increased the number of scanning channels from 1 to 25 in the high-resolution device, or 8 in a portable version. More critically, they developed algorithms that remove electrical noise to isolate the true stomach wave signals. In a small trial with 11 children, they tested the high-resolution device against an invasive manometry test in which a catheter is inserted in the nose to measure stomach contractions. What? The EGG results closely lined up, while the older single-channel system matched the manometry in just 3 of the 11 subjects. So the new version closely lined up with a catheter, which means that goes in far. What's up, Edgar? How's it going? So wow, so they did do better because the other one, the old version that had one channel, it only matched the better system with 3 out of 11 children. So it is pretty good. So let me see. A gastroenterologist can quickly see where and when a part of the GI tract is showing abnormal rhythms, and as a result may make more accurate, faster, and personalized diagnosis, said lead author Armin Garabans. Until now, it was quite challenging to accurately measure the electrical patterns of stomach activity in a continuous manner outside of a clinical settings. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. It all this is future stuff. They're steady coming up with this. Yeah, this version might not be 100%. Faithy, what are you doing? I'm looking at the screen. What are you fighting with? You're trying to touch the screen.
It's like in my way. I can't be over here.
I see you were pushing away from the screen on me. So
Don't look at
you're funny. Yeah. So yeah, this is all, and it's only gonna get better. I mean, it's pretty cool. They're constantly coming up, improving. The technology comes out and they improve on it, and I like all that stuff. Yeah, quit playing around. All right. Next up, the Chinese space station crashes back to Earth. It what? Say who? What happened? After a week of frenzied speculation about where and when Tiangong's 1's demise would occur, China's first space station disintegrated in the skies over the Pacific Ocean. The fiery coda to the space station's final act began around 8:16 p.m. Eastern Time when the falling spacecraft re-entered Earth's atmosphere, breaking into flaming pieces that are unlikely to have survived re-entry. China's crewed space program said in a statement, their prediction was spot on, says astronomer Jonathan Dowell of the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics, referring to a prediction China had made about Tiangong's 1's homecoming. The U.S. Strategic Command's Joint Force Space Component Command confirmed the time and location of Tiangong's first 1's re-entry. China lost control of the 8.5-ton space station in 2016, and without the ability to boost the space station's altitude, the space station plunged to Earth was an inevitability. Is that how you say that? Since then, analysts have been tracking the station and attempting to predict when it would fall. Complex calculations that must account for such factors as solar activity, atmospheric density, and the station's motions. What?
How come yours is like, your background is so clear and then mine's all ugly? I don't know how to do that.
Oh, because of the light. Your light isn't as good as mine. I gave you the cheap side. So that was pretty cool. Remember was the last show that we talked about this space station, that there was a chance it could fall in a populated area.
Yeah.
But
We're talking about it.
yeah. But the good thing is it fell over the ocean, and it probably didn't even hit the ocean. It probably burned up in the atmosphere. Because stuff is going so fast. And it hits the friction of the atmosphere and it starts to tear apart. It gets real hot, it burns up. All right, let's move on to some science news. Looks like Faithy's not paying attention.
Science news.
Are you ready to do the first science news? Why not, Faith? You're exiting out of stuff?
And define what we're talking about.
Okay, so huge dinosaur footprints were discovered on the Scottish coast.
I can't be helping you looking for stuff.
More than 160 million years ago, long-necked dinosaurs called sauropods. Huh?
Ew.
What?
People who have that one phobia that
At the foot?
Yes, because there's a whole bunch of little thingies in there, like circles, and trypophobia is a fear of circles.
Okay, you're weird. So I don't even remember where I was at. So now dozens of their footprints have been found on the forbidding wave-pounded coast of Scotland's Isle of Skye. Oh, I see what you're talking about. Those little circles.
Yeah.
What are those, rocks?
No, they have things growing out of them.
It looks like salt and rocks. So standing on Skye's rocky shores, you might mistake the huge footprint for tidal pools. Except that on second glance, you'd see that the pools trace the toes and fleshy heels of dinosaurs. These tracks were sort of hiding in plain sight for years. Says University of Southern California paleontologist Michael Habib. It was Habib who wasn't involved with the discovery. It goes to show how sauropods are so much larger than everything else that we field paleontologists are rarely looking for something of that scale at first. So they're saying since they're normally not looking for something that big, that's why it was overlooked. They're like, oh, that's not nothing. They should be smaller, but that's huge. So amid the large prints, the team also found distinctive three-toed footprints made by theropods, likely creatures that were older cousins of the Cretaceous period Tyrannosaurus Rex. Yeah. Three-toed? That's kind of like you, right, Faith? You have three toes only? The full suit of footprints unveiled in the Scottish Journal of Geology on April 2nd provides a rare glimpse into the Middle Jurassic, a period spanning from 164 to 174 million years ago, that so far has yielded few dinosaur fossils of any kind. The latest discovery helps cement the Isle of Skye as a key region for bringing this little understanding of era to life. So that's pretty cool.
Not sponsored. Okay.
Huh?
I'm showing my coat, and since it's green, it's all black. Like, not sponsored.
Why are you showing? Oh, that's Diet Coke?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's our sponsor. So let's move on to the spacecraft that will get closer to the sun than any before it without melting. And this article is brought to you by Brian. He used to be a host here.
Brian?
Yep, he sent me an email with this. So I was like, thank you, sir. Help me out. And is anybody coming in through the cameras? Do you see anybody?
No.
Okay, it has taken 60 years, but scientists and engineers are finally ready to reach for the stars. Our star, that is. The sun. And they're confident they won't get burned. So this summer, NASA will launch the Parker Solar Probe, an impressively heat-resistant spacecraft designed to glide closer to the surface of the sun than any spacecraft before it. It will fly within about 6 million kilometers of the searing surface, more than 7 times closer than earlier crafts. If all goes to plan, the craft will be hurtling at 724,205 kilometers per hour and have its one-of-a-kind heat shield perfectly facing the surface as it makes those closest approaches. In about 7 years, it will complete 24 orbits around the sun and pass by Venus 7 times. All the while, Parker Probe will collect a constellation of data to help answer scientists' burning questions and solve some sizzling mysteries, oh come on, about the orb of hot plasma that lights up our solar system. Namely, it will try to help us finally understand why the sun's atmosphere is 300 times hotter than its surface, which itself is a balmy 5,727 degrees Celsius. This fact defies basic physics and to this day is unexplained. One of the leading hypotheses to account for the heat shift comes from famed physicist Eugene Parker, after whom the probe is named. In the mid-1950s, Parker theorized that the sun's superheated corona could be explained by a complex system of plasma, magnetic fields, and energetic particles that spark solar explosions called nanoflares. Scientists are thirsty for close-up data on those potential explosions, as well as the cascade of energy called solar wind. With that data, they can put their hypothesis to the test. And in addition to helping us understand coronal heat data on coronal heat, data on these sunny phenomena could help clear up poorly understood space weather, which can wreak havoc on satellites and power lines here on Earth. Okay, so in all, the Parker Solar Probe project is the coolest, hottest mission under the sun, Nikki Fox told reporters Wednesdays at a press viewing of the spacecraft at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland. Fox is a Parker Solar Probe project scientist with the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Lab. She introduced the mission as humanity's first encounter with a star, and one that is extremely historic. The initial idea to reach the sun with the spacecraft came about 1958, predating NASA's operations, she noted, but it took 6 decades for technology to catch up with scientists' dreams. The Parker Solar Probe is the realization of those visions, armed with the mother of all heat shields. So yeah, that's cool. They've been thinking about this since 1958, and it's finally gonna get sent out. But what they say, it's gonna in about 7 years, it'll be done doing what they want it to do. That's kind of crazy. I think it's crazy, like you.
Progress.
Okay, so.
You see me looking at your phone?
Huh?
You see me looking at your phone?
No, anybody say anything?
But it's making noise and it's annoying.
I think it's time to go to the news. To gaming news.
To the news.
To the gaming news.
Game news.
So, Faithy, do you know what a steam machine is?
It's a machine that produces steam.
Awesome. So, Valve is getting rid of the steam machines section. So, a couple of years ago, Valve started like talking about how they're going to be selling or telling these companies like, I don't know, HP and Dell or whatever, hey, y'all make steam machines, which is a computer in a box that can go in your living room under your TV. It'll plug in HDMI to your TV. You plug in some USB controllers, and you play your Steam games that are on your computer. You play them on your big screen on the Steam machine. So it'll be like a console. You know what I'm saying?
That's not what I explained.
You were 100% correct. A machine that creates steam, or what'd you say?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So, you know what Steam is. I don't know why you act like you don't know what Steam is. You play
It said steam machine. So my friends, it's a machine that makes steam. I
Faithy.
think gaming.
Anyways, so they were making a lot of noise. They made this this new how do you call it? Like when you turn Steam on, it could take over your whole computer, kind of look like a PlayStation or an Xbox. And then you just move over with your controller. You don't have to use a mouse anymore. Because the way Steam is you're using a mouse and you're clicking on little buttons here and there. Well, this new setup would make everything big, all the buttons big, and you just use the controller to move around and click on what you want. Kind of like I said, an Xbox or a PlayStation. And so they made a big fuss about that. But what I'm guessing is nobody bought them. So here, let me see. Remember Steam machines. Valve seems to be trying to forget its bid to get everyone playing games on expensive little boxes from Alienware, Asus, and the like, as it's removed the Steam machine section from Steam. It's been a while since anyone really talked about the living room PCs, but this looks like the final nail in the coffin. Steam machines never really got their big moment. Valve envisioned a new ecosystem following on the big picture. That's what it was, big picture mode. Where people would play PC games in their living room using a Steam machine, Steam controller, and SteamOS. But the big launch at the end of 2015, see, this was back in 2015 when they were talking about it, only saw a handful of boxes appear, and none of them exactly tempted people away from their desktops or consoles. The issues were myriad. There were the delays, cancellations, high price points, and then was the fact that people really weren't really interested in SteamOS. The Linux-based operating system was originally a draw, but it was delayed and then finally released with bugs and a poor frame rate when compared to Windows 10. Steam machines ended up having to offer Windows alternatives. The Steam machine launch wasn't helped by Valve's second bid for domination for the living room. While their Steam machine partners were designing their first boxes, Valve was busy making their own device, the Steam Link. It essentially did the same thing, allowing people to play Steam games on their TV. But instead of being a desktop surrogate, the Steam Link was a streaming device, and it was much, much cheaper. If you hover over the hardware tab on Steam now, you'll only see the Steam controller, Steam Link, and HTC Vive appears on the drop-down. And the hardware page itself is gone, replaced with a search list that only contains 4 Steam machines with links to external websites. The old Steam machine page can still be reached, but not through the front page. It was an interesting concept, but by the time the first machine started to appear, their days were already done. Pour one out for those fallen boxes. So yeah, the Steam Link is probably your best bet, and that's probably why the Steam machine is out of there. Because why buy this expensive box that you're gonna spend almost as much as a regular computer, but it's only gonna be your gaming console. It's probably more expensive than a Xbox or a PS4. So you're gonna buy this expensive box. You can't use it for anything but your gaming, unless they have a desktop link in there where you can click and it'll go to a desktop. But then you spend all this money, and then they're not as good as your desktop, because you probably have a better video card than they put in that box, you know. And then Steam itself makes Valve itself makes the Steam Link, which all you do is connect to your TV. You send a signal from your PC to the TV, and you sit in front of your TV and you play a PC game, but the PC can be in another room. It's just streaming all the information to the TV through that thing, through Steam Link. So yeah, that didn't work. Poor guys. Like they said, pour one out for them. All right, so let's mention this next one. No Man's Sky is getting its biggest update yet this summer, along Xbox One launch. So when this was first mentioned, No Man's Sky, I was all interested in it. I think they had mentioned that it was going to come out on Xbox One, but it never did, and blah, blah, blah. And that's why I ended up going with that other game that I got. What's the name of it, Faithy? The one that I play, the spaceship one?
Oh, God.
All right, well, anyways, the other spaceship, it's similar to No Man's Sky, I think. Yeah, you go into worlds, you get out of the world, you go into outer space, and, you know, all kinds of stuff. You can do all kinds of things. So, okay, Hello Games, the developer behind space exploration title No Man's Sky, announced that the game's largest update ever will arrive later this summer alongside a launch on the Xbox One. Details about the update, which the company is referring to as No Man's Sky Next, are scarce. It will be free. That's awesome. Like previous updates such as last year's Atlas Rises, which introduced planetary quick travels, land vehicles, and base buildings.
Elite Dangerous.
Elite Dangerous. Yeah, that's the one that I play. But beyond that, we don't know what the update will involve. Okay. Let me see. So we called this update Next because it's an important next step on a longer journey for us and the community, writes Hello Games co-founder Sean Murray. We've been working our socks off on this, and it's by far our biggest update so far. It will be free to existing players, and we'll continue to support No Man's Sky in this way for the foreseeable future. We've been working our okay, so yeah, that's that quote. For release on Microsoft's console for the first time, the game has been a PlayStation 4 console exclusive since August of 2016 launch. Murray says No Man's Sky will be enhanced for the Xbox One X with HDR, 4K support. What's up, George? Parties for you in the casa. Xbox players will get the entire expansion set for the game, including the Foundation, Pathfinder, and Atlas Rises update. Murray says the game is also launching in China on Tencent's platform WeGame. As of Atlas Rising, China is our second biggest region for players of No Man's Sky, so we're excited to be able to support that further, Murray writes. So that's cool. I might get it. I hope there's like something I can try out, like a trial version type thing that I can try and see if I really like it. But
I want to try it because it looks like a little kid fun game.
yeah, well now you can build buildings, you can ride those vehicles, not just spaceships, because before it was just spaceships. So they added a lot to it. Alrighty, so I think it's time to play some commercials.
It's not time for that.
Hey bartender, we need a round of shots.
Do you want what everybody else is having, or do you want the best of the best?
Of course we want the best of the best.
Well then, Tequila Cazadores is the one for you.
For those special moments in your life, whether it's a special occasion or just a day relaxing with your friends, drink the best of the best, Tequila Cazadores.
The next time you or someone you know get into trouble, don't call your parents or best friend. Call 713-BEST-BET. That's 713-BEST-BET for Alberta's Best Bet Bail Bonds. Don't gamble with your freedom. They will take charge of the situation and get you out of jail quick. Give them a call, 713-237-8238. That's 713-237-8238. And be sure to let them know that SCP Radio sent you.
Hey Michelle, my birthday's around the corner. I want to throw a big party and wow my guests, but I don't know what to do.
All you have to do is call SCP for your DJ needs and Parties for You for your margarita rentals. They have the best margarita mixes in town. With these two companies, you will wow your guests. They will talk about your party for years to come. For your margarita rentals, look us up on Facebook, Parties for You.
Or call 281-748-0057.
And don't forget to mention SCP sent you.
Together, we are the future of entertainment.
Alrighty, so now we're gonna move on to the interview portion of the show. So hit it. We're gonna do an interview. This is the interview part of the show, and I have Ryan here.
How's it going?
What's your last name?
Rockwell.
Ryan Rockwell, right? Rockwell?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so this is the first time I meet Ryan. I've seen him on Facebook. I joined his Facebook group because, you know, I'm trying to get developers and stuff to, you know, come in and stuff. So that's why I kind of joined. I've been joining any tech groups that I find. Yeah. And that's the main reason I joined it. You know, not because I'm a developer, but I'm like, well, maybe one of them they have a game they're making or something, and they want to promote it, you know. Definitely. And that's what I'm here for. Like my show, it's 1 hour. It used to start at 9. Now it's 9:30 because we have a show from 8 to 9. And the girls that are here, by the time at 9 when they finish, it takes me about 30 minutes to switch everything over to do the next show. Right. So I start around 9:30 and I'll go to 10:30. Actually, I'll go until, you know, like if I have someone here and we have a good conversation going, we'll just keep going. There's no set time, you know. Yeah, but if not, I'll do from 9:30 to 10 or 10:30, depending on how many stories. Normally, I do like we did today. We do stories, articles. I talk about articles. So I'll start off with tech, then we do science, and then we do gaming. Okay. And then we go into an interview like this. So okay, so I understand that you run a Facebook group.
Yeah. So essentially, what the group is, it's a focus group for a set of courses that are all online. And our goal essentially was to gather a bunch of people interested in development and kind of just bring them all together to try to build a development group from scratch by using these courses and using the support that we have from a global community.
Cool. And what is it that you use? Like, what are y'all Skype in? What is it?
So for the most part, we all meet over at a location.
So you meet
yeah,
somewhere.
yeah. So we all meet at Track 21. I don't know if you know what that is. Track 21. It's off like Keith Harrow and Highway 6. So we meet there in a conference room, and I get the projector out and stuff. And I'll usually have a presentation unless we're just kind of doing like an update. But usually, what we'll do is we'll try to complete a course, and then we'll try to. It'll be like one week's. Just to check in where you're at currently, where the section is.
Okay.
Then we'll try to do group projects and stuff like that. Then we kind of do performance reviews and things to see what people are doing and to kind of push them towards becoming a developer.
Okay.
Eventually, we'll link them off into like freelance work and stuff like that.
Cool. And is this free group? I mean, is this
so the meetup itself is free. Like,
Uh-huh.
come in, whatever. But you have to purchase the courses yourself. But we do have a discount coupon specifically for our group to make it like $10.
Oh, okay. Cool. And so everybody brings in their laptop and
Yeah.
they're following along, or
Yeah, they bring in their laptop and everyone's kind of at their own pace. So they'll all work individually, and I'll try to like assign a goal deadline. At the moment, only a couple people have actually completed the first course, and we're already ready to move into the second course. But I'm trying to wait for everyone to catch up, and then we're going to take a break to do a group project just to get them used to working together, and then we'll move into the second course. It'll be 4 courses total.
Wow, cool. And like, what do they consist of? Like, are you making them build like working toward building a game, working to build some type of app, or what is it that? So
the courses themselves, the instructor form is named Jonathan Weinberger, and I probably said that wrong. So if he ever hears that, he's gonna laugh. So essentially, he's the only authorized Unity instructor that exists.
Okay.
And he does his instruction platform through a thing called Udemy.
Okay.
So it's just a teaching platform essentially, and so they're all videos, and he's teaching how to develop games live through these videos. So you're watching the course and you're actually creating 2 games to kind of teach you the foundations, and then you take that foundation and then you
Apply
build your
it.
portfolio and apply it to your own projects and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, because I took one of those free online courses. I don't remember exactly, but it was Python. It was to learn Python.
Yeah.
And they made us build games. You know, like they would do part of the game and then finish it off. Like they kept making us do that. You know.
Yeah.
And at the beginning it was easy and I could do it, and then it got to the end and I was like, oh, I'm lost. and the thing is, they had you know, we had instructors, like we could chat with them and say, hey, what's the deal? But still, I one time chatted with them and they were like, yeah, it's easy, just do this. I was like, I don't understand.
Yeah, basically.
You know? Yeah, so I don't know, like, I know if on something like that I really have to understand it, like, and then once I understand it, like, it clicks, and then I can just keep going. But like I remember on that one, I was like, I don't get how you get from here to there, like, what's the mechanism? I don't understand. But yeah, so is this something like that then, right? It's some similar
sort of. I'd like to really point out that the instructors and stuff, it's very community based. So all the people that you're talking to are all people who are doing the course actively with you. Okay. So when you're reaching out for help, you'll see like moderators and stuff like that are in there just literally just watching the chat for people who need help.
Oh, okay.
And then their goal is to teach you and to just treat it as if it's step 0 for you. So they're very patient. You know, we have kids in there. There's 11-year-olds that are in there learning to develop, and you got to be real patient with them. And you know, we treat everybody the exact same way to make sure you understand the solution, rather than just tell you what's going on and spoon feed it to you.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah,
none of that. At all.
Cool. That's good. That's good. And what? Okay, so Unity. I'm not too familiar with that. Is that the language, or is that engine, or?
It's kind of the engine. So the language is C#. And then the engine would be through Unity as a platform we're developing on.
Got you. So that's kind of like I mentioned to you off the air about Unreal Engine.
Yeah, so it'd be like Unreal's engine is Unity Engine.
It's
They're
a
like
Unity
the same
engine.
thing, yeah. I think it's the actual only competitor right now, except for Amazon Lumberyard, but Unity is still top for the development aspect.
And Unity, is there a specific is it for gaming, or is it for any? What is?
I mean, pretty much anything that you can do with writing in C# you can do on Unity. So whether it's application based, gaming, software, whatever.
It's universal.
Yeah.
Huh.
You can do console games and all that stuff. You can build it off to anything. I think even Nintendo Switch is on it now, so if you wanted to make a Nintendo Switch game, you could.
Okay, apps, everything.
Yeah.
Phone apps. Oh.
Yeah, everything.
Wow. Okay. Pretty good. What about you? Are you proficient in
I wouldn't say I'm
C#?
proficient. Before this course, I was trying to do another course system, but I couldn't stand the instructors. It was kind of a similar scenario that you were in previously, where they would spoon feed it and you didn't really have a chance to grasp it.
Yeah.
And their community was just not about that life. They're just not, they didn't really care.
Yeah.
And I just said as I was thinking it. What I was going to point out was that literally he would say every like 10 seconds. And clearly they weren't used to communicating with people
I gotcha.
and teaching.
Yeah.
They would go through an entire paragraph after paragraph of code, and then it would break live on the video, and they wouldn't edit it out. They would just backspace and go through and not re-roll it, you know?
Oh, wow.
So I was like, man, this is terrible.
Yeah, not good.
This is the worst experience I've ever had. So I stopped for a while.
Yeah.
And then I got back on track when I saw Jonathan's course come out, and then that was the first time I ever completed a course, and I was just like, so I
Wow.
started making stuff, and now I've got a bunch of little things on the side. I do have a game that I'm going to be releasing soon, but
Awesome.
it's not publicly ready yet.
It's not ready yet,
Yeah, it's
but
just a little phone game at the moment.
cool, cool for iPhone,
For
or
Android.
Android.
For Android.
Awesome. Okay, so you're gonna have to come back at least for that.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
definitely. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah. But like, you're welcome to come back any other time on my show. You know.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. I'll
But I
hit you
know
up.
you're busy on Thursdays, which is the normal
Yeah,
time. So.
yeah. This is literally my only available day, and
only available.
I completely forgot that I was going to come up today.
No.
So I was like, all right, waking up early, spend time with the lady. Got
Uh-huh.
to do this for the course today. Got to do this for the community today. Hey, are you coming up? I'm not sleeping today.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
sleeping.
Yeah. No, and I completely forgot because, like I say, on the weekends we go to a club, and then there was Easter, and you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's been a
it's
hectic weekend.
I was out of it. I haven't had enough sleep, you know, yet. I haven't caught up, and then I remembered in the morning. I was like, I know something's supposed to happen today.
Something feels important.
something, you know. And then I'm like, oh yeah, it's sent you a message.
Exact same thing
Yeah.
with me.
Oh
crap.
Yes, and you know, I always, like, when I say I'm gonna do something, I always want to go through it. You know, I don't want to have that rep of, oh well, he says this and he never does it. No,
Yeah, that's why I was like, no, we can't prolong it. I'm gonna make this work.
You can make it work.
I'm a little late, but I'm making it work.
Hey man, it's all good, man. There's no set time or nothing. You know, we're good to go. We're good to go. So, what are you working on? Any other groups, or is that the main? That's your focus right now.
I focus a lot on my local group, but I am helping a lot with the actual global community that exists for the courses.
Okay.
At the moment, we have our Discord, and in our Discord, I'm listed as community manager. But basically, I just kind of keep everything clean. I try to interact with the community more. I actually just did I did our meetup for my local group. I did it online with the total community. So that way the global community could find out that there is local groups, and then I spoke to them about what they want to see. So it's about to get a lot busier for me with the total community and stuff.
Oh wow!
So it's going to be pretty interesting.
Pretty cool. So you use Discord.
Yeah.
Do y'all do it to chat, to type, or to talk?
Both.
You'll
I
do
think
both?
this would actually be the first time that we talked on it, actually.
Oh,
For the
okay.
most part, everybody's just typing. It's all, coding. We need the text anyway. So naturally, we're typing, looking at both screens, doing whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm pushing them to use voice more.
Cool.
So it'll probably start happening pretty soon.
That's neat. I right away when I found out about Discord. Well, not right away, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna start using Discord. I was all excited about it, and I put it on our website. There's a Discord, thing, so people can sign up and chat. Yeah. Since I deal with artists and stuff, I asked them to Skype in, and they look at me. They're like, "What's that?
What's a Skype?"
Yeah, what's a Skype? And
up
so
in the air.
yeah, so when I started telling people, hey, sign up with Discord. There's our deal. Go through there, and you'll nobody.
Yeah,
nobody.
definitely a different
Yeah, it's a
niche.
different group of people.
Yeah.
So but that's why I'm kind of like, I need to reach out to the tech community.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I went to 6 foot. Is it industry or 6 foot?
I don't know. I just knew it's 6 foot.
I know
That's
6
what I
foot.
call it
Yeah.
too, so that's
So
it.
I was like, that's why I went there, and I talked to some guys. I went to those other groups, and I'm like, come on, y'all have stuff y'all want to promote. Come promote it. It's open. It's free. I'm not charging. To me, what you're giving me is stuff for my show.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm gonna have something to talk to, someone to talk to or talk about and promote. That's it, because that's what we do. And that's like, it's a Houston thing. I want to promote all Houston, like developers and stuff like that. You know, I don't know how many other radio stations around here that are like that. So, like I said, we deal with Tejano, so I know of all of the Tejano, the Tejano stations, and none of them do like. We switch cameras and all this stuff. They all just do the radio. I try to do SCP radio, SCP TV, so I'm doing both, and like I said, we do Skype. We have people Skype in, and everybody, like I said, the artists are like, "Oh, what's Skype?" And I get on the phone with them, and I'm like, "Look, go to Skype, download the app, and most of them will do it on their phone because they're like, well, I don't have a computer that I can use right now. I'm like, okay, get on your phone and Skype, and they're there like this, and it's not good quality, but so
that's awesome.
But yeah, that's what we do, and it's always weird because they're like, how come y'all have all this? And like, well, they all point to me. They're like, well, he's a nerd. He's a tech guy.
It's his fault.
Yeah, it's his fault. Yeah, but I mean, when people come in, they usually are like, "Wow, this is pretty nice," And I'm like, "Well, I mean, this is what I like, so this is what we're gonna do. It's my house, huh?
My rules.
Yeah, my rules.
Case
so
closed.
too bad, But I mean, it's cool. I mean, like I say, we have artists. They come in and they play. They sit around the table and they bring their accordion, they bring their bass, they bring their guitar, and they jam out. That's
pretty baller,
so and one time right there in that spot, we had the whole band. We had the whole band, and they were and I connect them to the board, and we go. So it's everybody likes coming here because they're like, wow, you got all kinds of stuff. You know? But it's the fault of the nerd. But and like I said, nobody knows. But the thing is, like I call myself, I'm more like the engineer type where you got to give me the idea. The guys like the DJ that I have, Jimmy, he always comes, I'd like to do this and I like to do that, and I'm like, oh, okay. Once he gives me the idea, I go and make it happen.
Right.
So I'm not one by myself here. I wouldn't have all this stuff. It's just because they kind of mentioned it.
Yeah.
And then I run with it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's it's weird how. Everybody always asks, why do y'all have a tech show on this network? And even when I've reached out to people, they'll look at the radio station and say, why are you reaching out to us? I see nothing but Tejano stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was confused too. I was like,
why are you reaching out?
Down with it.
I mean,
let's see what's up.
Exactly. So, and do you know any other programming languages? Have you ever worked on them?
Not necessarily programming languages, but I know like PHP, CSS, like web development stuff, so CSS and HTML, basic stuff like that.
Cool.
PHP would be the more advanced one
I don't know. Yeah. I started when I was in computer science. I did HTML, and then after that,
it's all pretty dated now. HTML and CSS. PHP is the way to go.
PHP.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, maybe I need to go take a course on that. But the guys want me to go take a course on the mixer on running live sound. That's what they want me to go learn.
Yeah.
To be a sound engineer. Because it works with what we do. But
it's one of those things. Pick it up, then you're become a one-man band, man.
That's the thing.
Keep pumping it out, and that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, like
holding it down.
I make all the any editing, video editing. I do any. Flyers, I do all the flyers.
Mm-hmm.
We make banners. I make the artwork for all the banners.
You do the artwork. You can take some like. Do you use like Photoshop, Illustrator?
Photoshop. I don't.
Like
I'm not Illustrator. I use Photoshop a lot.
Yeah, you should take some Photoshop courses. And
That's
get deep in it.
I know. I think I should because I've seen guys do some stuff. And I'm like, wow, how do they do that?
Yeah, because that first impression is important. So you make a badass flyer. And you put that out there. That alone.
Yeah, that'll catch attention. That is true. I might need to take do that. All right. So how about you? Have you done any art? Would you do any artwork or anything like that?
Yeah, I actually do all the art for my games. It's all actually done in Photoshop, so it's all done specifically in it.
Oh, cool. Sound? What about sound?
Sound? No.
You get somebody to.
I don't have like I just buy sound.
Okay.
Online,
yeah. Like a library that you just
Yeah, I go buy the license for them and put them in stuff like that.
So yeah, that's cool. And that way you don't have to go outside and record stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
If sound effects, I'll make my own sound effects, but like music, like background music stuff like that, that I'll go buy. But sound effects, I'll straight pull out a mic.
Yeah.
You
can make that.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll definitely do that.
Cool. That's neat. That's neat. What else does the game need? So, like, since you mentioned you're working on the game.
Yes.
So you.
There's all like my stuff's pretty simple. I try to keep it simple since I'm just me until I have a team to do it. But I mean, like, eventually it would come down to like you need cinematography, you need voice acting, you need a writer, you need a level designer. So not even just art itself, but somebody who can do the architectural aspect of everything.
Yeah,
make design these levels or just these buildings and put them in.
Wow,
so you got to really start branching. So it's not just a 3D artist. It's somebody who specializes in buildings or trees or freaking grass.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about all that stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
it's pretty branched out.
It does, yeah. But when you're by yourself, you don't have to go so
when I'm by myself, right? I can get that deep, but I try not to because then I'll be sitting here by myself for like 6 years trying to make something. So I'm trying to like pump out apps that just like. You ever visit the site Newgrounds?
No.
You ever heard of it? Well, it's you ever heard of like a Flash, like Adobe Flash?
Yeah.
So on Newgrounds, it's real common to have like Flash games that just some kid made or something. And it used to be super popular like 10 years ago.
Okay.
And pretty much all the games that were super cool on Newgrounds, you find like remakes on the phone. And they're super popular on the phone, and they're banking on it. So I mean, like those super simple type games, something you would have played on the Super Nintendo, are the kinds of games that I make and put on the phone.
And put it on the phone. Yeah.
That way, it's just real simple art. I don't need a writer or a grass. I can just scribble something in.
Yeah, quick. And you on your game, is it going to be touch controls? Like,
it's touch control. The name of the game is called Mouse Tap, and the premise of it is it's kind of like a Hungry Hippos meets Tower Defense. So the mice will come out of different holes in like a kitchen map, and you'll tap on the actual cats, and they'll reach out and kill the mouse, and it'll be just like kind of like the Hungry Hippos feel. They're coming out of random spots, but they're trying to get cheese from a fridge and bring it out the exit. So you gotta stop them from doing that.
Stop them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So that one's easy because you just touch where you.
You'll usually use two thumbs trying to
touch them. Yeah. Cool. Because I know. I mean, sometimes it works, but on those type of games where you're using the phone, you got a touch screen. They put a little D-pad on there, and I never really liked that.
Yeah, that's for like the action type games. Yeah, I usually stay away from those myself. There's one like called Arena of Valor that I really like, but it's a pretty smooth little joystick.
And it's good with the joystick.
Yeah. Outside of that, I've never seen. I even had I like that game so much that I bought a joystick for the phone.
Oh yeah.
That you stick to the screen so you can sit, but I couldn't see through it. So when somebody was hiding underneath it,
it messed you up. Yeah, it messed you up. I got you. I've tried all that stuff. I've tried all that stuff.
Worth it?
Yeah. When I first got an iPad, I bought. My wife got me those joysticks, and I was playing all the time, but they never were perfect. Yeah. But I like that. What you say? It's just touch. It's just a touch control. It's just you're just touching.
Super simple stuff.
Yeah, simple stuff.
Nothing wild.
That's cool. Let me see. And have you? So that's the first. No, it's not your first game.
That'll be my first game publicly.
It'll be your first game. Okay. And so you've never made other like apps or anything else?
I've made a couple of things like some platformer games here and there, but nothing that I've ever put out locally.
Just
I've only been super hardcore into it since like January.
Okay.
So
it's
I'm still fresher to me.
Yeah.
But I've got a pretty solid comprehension of it, so I've been able to.
Cool. And this is going to be in C#.
Yeah.
And on the Unity engine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sweet.
Absolutely.
Sweet. That is pretty cool. What else? And I know you mentioned you used to do before other communities. You used to do.
Before this, I don't know if you ever played the game Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
So there's the Pokemon Go Houston group. It's like 30,000 some people in it. That's my group originally. Wow. That's one of the largest groups that I've ever had, obviously, because it was a
Pokemon
big thing.
Yeah.
And it's still to this day the largest group for any localized group for Pokemon Go, like in the world by like 15 times the amount.
Wow.
So it's still way larger than anything that's out there, which I'm still pretty proud of it.
Wow.
But I did the Kima Go Fest, so I worked with the mayor of Kima to actually do a festival for Pokemon Go through our audience. And so that was pretty cool. They were trying to break a Guinness World Record. I don't know if they got to beat it or not, because I had to actually push the group away. I gave it off to the other admins so I can go pursue other things during that time.
Oh, okay.
But that was pretty awesome to speak to the mayor of town and be like, oh, well,
wow.
You want a Guinness record of a balloon fight, you say?
Wow.
I'm in.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That is nice.
And prior to that, I did esports. I did a lot of that for something called Pact Gaming. Some of it still kind of exists on Google, but our site's all gone and stuff. But we used to work with amateur indie titles or games that had no PvP following, and we would just kind of rile up the communities there and build a PvP following and create amateur tours. And we would do like this with the green screen and the camera and stuff, and we'd get that together. That was doing pretty good for a while, and I was actually kind of making some money from it, because essentially what would happen is the indie developers would give you prize cash and you cut some of that for your work.
Oh, okay.
And so that only failed because I was born with something called Vater syndrome, and it kicked in and I lost the ability to walk for a while.
Oh, wow.
And so I dropped the group,
You had
and
to.
when I went to go rebuild it, I couldn't get investors anymore because we cut in the middle of it, and they're like, eh.
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah.
But so you on that you had cameras and they would play.
So they would be playing online, and you would be using systems like Twitch to stream live to everybody, and you would be using stuff like there's usually a spectator mode in most of these games.
Yeah.
So you stream from the spectator mode yourself.
Yeah.
Plus your camera, and then of course you're technically the trick of the trade is to do a pre-recording, and then after the pre-recording you then host live. So you do a pre-recording of the entire tournament, it gets cut and edited appropriately with the appropriate highlights, and then you live stream the pre-recording and host that. So you kind of know in advance what's going on to keep things.
So you would do that? Well, you would talk.
Yeah.
On the thing, and you would so and so's doing this.
Yeah, like absolutely. Oh, there goes so and so, and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. You know,
Oh,
that kind of
okay.
things, yeah.
Pretty cool. Yeah, because I know you mentioned, man, you have all this stuff. You should maybe do stuff.
Yeah,
like
I had that camera right there, the webcam. That's
Yeah,
all I had. That, and I had a green screen at the time that was held up by like PVC pipe, and we used a system called OBS.
Oh yeah,
and
that's what I use.
Yeah. So we used OBS, and we set it up, went live, and getting communities involved is just what I've always done passionately, is get people together and interact. So that was easy to reach out and find the weak point to prey on, to get the people interested.
Pretty cool.
Blew up. I think our last tournament was actually a Smite tournament before the game Smite got really, really large. And we had like 27,000 viewers come kick in all the way through the actual pre-record. So when it was done, we had like 27,000. During the live, I think it was like 50 to 100 people watching, but it was literally an amateur tour of people that you don't know or ever hear of ever.
Wow.
And it was just, the fact people were interested in that was awesome. So it's like, this is what we'll continue to build on.
Yeah.
But locally, since you like doing the locally stuff, and you got all this equipment, like there's Neil's Bar does tournaments all the time. There's a place called the Coral Sword that just opened up. It was opened up by one of the Houston Astros owns it.
Okay.
Yeah, so he owns it and just opened it, and his whole follower base is because he's a baseball player.
Yeah.
But there's no information about how it's a gaming place, but he specifically says it's a gaming like lounge, but there's no information. So
And is there games?
I have no idea.
So you've never
I've
been?
never been,
Okay.
and I was kind of upset when I was like, "Oh, there's 2,000 people here, and all 5-star reviews are I love your baseball." So it's kind of like I don't know
so it
if it'll be
doesn't know.
successful.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it really does. But there's stuff like that. There's a couple people who've contacted me that are making an esports bar, but everyone says they're making one, never does. So we'll see where that goes. But you should definitely look into the places that do these kind of tournaments with just their normal, random people come and play.
Yeah.
It'd be this would be a dope setup for stuff like that.
Yeah. And you would mean like to go out there with the equipment?
Yeah, if you could go out there,
Yeah.
If not, what you can do is you can always set it up through a third party and have somebody streaming it from that location, or pre-record the location and then come back and live it. So
Yeah.
the people who couldn't make that event.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I was mentioning earlier, at Tumbleweeds, I run 3 cameras. I haven't tried more, but I run that video camera plus 2 webcams.
Yeah.
And I stream it all live, and I switch, and I use OBS on the laptop. So
Yeah.
it is possible.
Yeah, you're already doing it.
Yeah, it's already being done.
Just
So
an idea, since you're looking for tech stuff. I
Yeah.
think
that would be a
you'd
good.
pull some people because nobody's doing it.
Wow.
No one's doing it. If I had this equipment, I'd be doing it.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can team up with me and go and.
I'd be down. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have to talk about that. Because I mean that's interesting. I love games and
Yeah,
stuff.
but
and
I was doing it and getting paid before what I'm doing right
Before
now.
you're doing
so
now.
like I've got the repertoire.
Yeah,
To be like,
yeah.
here's what you got to do.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I mean, I like I said, when I went to 6 Foot, they had all the computers with their games to where you could just sit down and play, and then
absolutely.
there was people with their laptops and they were playing against each other. I was like, wow, I've never been to a LAN party, LAN party, or whatever. And I was like, I've always wanted to go. I've always heard people talk about it.
Yeah.
But I'm the only nerd in my area, I guess, because I don't know nobody else that's gaming or anything. And my friend Jimmy, the DJ, we used to before we started DJing and stuff. We'd go home from work. And he'd get online on the Xbox, and I'd get online on the Xbox, and we'd talk and play Halo or whatever. That was it. That was the extent of But anything else, and then computer games, nobody. I don't know hardly anybody that plays computer games. That's all me. Bye. But cool. So let me see. What else? What else do you have? What other things do you? You got anything you want to mention?
That's the extent of stuff that I've done in the past, really. I don't know. I mean, my goal focus right now is to see if we can't build a development team from the ground up. We're working on the website, so each individual participant will have their own portfolio page that they can use, and then that'll link up into a primary portal. So hopefully that works out. Start building up their resumes and stuff. Cool. Just kind of putting them out there and seeing if it works, see if any bait's taken. Kind of the idea is to be like, here's a bunch of freelancers. You only got to pay for one, and you get the whole group. So here's your bulk freelancers that are willing to figure stuff out and get production done, so we can just build our own interests.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like how you go out. You're just like, come and advertise for free. We're like, here's this group of people. We'll do your project.
Yeah.
Pay that guy, but we're all gonna help him.
We're all gonna help. Yeah. Cool. Sounds good. Like I said, you're always welcome to come back, to the show. You ever got with your game, you want to come and promote that, and we'll be happy to promote it. The doors are always open for you, But and thanks for coming this time. I've reached out to many people and they don't, they're like, oh, okay, and they never, come back.
I'll probably have some of the people who are involved in the group come up. Or something, if you're looking for more people, have them come either talk about their experience with it, or when we have a group game or something, bring them up here.
Sure.
We can all talk about it, kind of thing.
Yeah. And like I said, Sundays, Mondays I'm off, and I can, we don't have nothing set. Like today that wasn't the show, so. We're available here. But thanks for coming out.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it, and I guess we'll throw it back to the other mic that's sitting over there.
All right, man. Thanks, Mike. And thanks, Ryan Rockwell. All right, so that's going to be the end of the show. Thank you, Faithy, for producing the show. Thank you to Ryan Rockwell for coming out to the studio and giving me that awesome interview. I really appreciate it. Thanks to all the listeners. You can find more info on us at scpradio.com. We are on Twitter at Space Cadet Pro, Facebook at Space Cadet Pro, and on Instagram at SCP Radio. Don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes or your favorite podcatcher. You can email us at scpradio@spacecadetpro.com and leave us a voicemail at 832-910-7727. Thanks again for joining us live or downloading the on-demand version. Hope to see everyone back next week for another episode of Source Code News.
This is your boy, Light Jockey Mike, and I just wanted to thank you for supporting SCP Radio. That's the end of our show, but please be sure to check us out on spacecadetpro.com, where you will be able to watch our videos, find and like all of our social media accounts, and chat with us. While you are there, click on the radio tab, where you will be able to see the show schedule and all of the different ways to reach us. You can also listen to us from there if you are on a PC or laptop. Thanks again, and remember, we are the future in entertainment.